When it comes to adding long-lasting color to your world, let Rodda Paint give you a hand. It'll be a snap with Rodda Paint's quality coatings, vast color choices, and plenty of painting supplies. Visit your local Spokane Rodda Paint stores today, or go online to roddapaint.com. That's roddapaint.com.
Rodda Paint. Finish right.
It's time for House to Home on your radio. House to Home, where you'll hear from local people who turn houses into homes across the inland Northwest, and how you can too. House to Home is brought to you in part by your friends at Rodda Paint and Avista. Here's your host, Clyde Hawsey.
And welcome aboard, folks. You know, this has been an exciting show that I've been looking forward to be talking to Ralph Kinney with Rodda Paint. Thank you, Ralph, for coming.
Thanks for having me here.
You know what? Ralph has joined us before, and I really am excited that you're here again today because guess what? My wife gave me another list.
Oh, the wife's list.
The wife's list, you know, and she wanted to talk about the interior, and I said, honey, I got to deal with the exterior yet. And she says, what does that mean? I says, oh, what about the deck itself, and what about the door? Well, I'm going to be talking to Ralph, and we'll get all the answers.
Okay.
So we have some things to be talking about today. And folks, as a listener, I want you to be thinking about it and make some notes here. We're going to be talking about your fence. We're going to be talking about your deck. We're going to be talking about the exterior home. We're going to talk about your front door. I'm going to talk about the garage. I mean, my list is...
Your list is long, Clyde.
Okay, so lead us out, Ralph. What are some of the things that now we're in the middle of the summer and we're getting towards the other side, which is going to be fall, but what do we need to be looking at?
Well, Clyde, right now it's crazy because it's 90 degrees outside. Yep. We need to start thinking about the end of the year, even though it's warm outside. Mm-hmm. So you need to be looking around at the siding of your house because you got to be making a decision now before November. So decks right now, and you're right, decks are a hot button right now. Let's get those done before winter. We got to stop that moisture coming through. We got to touch them up before they start getting wet.
Well, and I found out the other day when I was out looking at my deck, I need to re-secure it and kind of brace it back up, and then I got new wood exposed on it. You know, so I mean, this is a never-ending. So again, you need to make your list and evaluate it, right?
Yeah, and when you make your list, you need to be making a list of substrates, the condition of those substrates. You say you got new wood. Mm-hmm. New wood needs to be treated. There's mill glaze on that wood, and that needs to be taken care of because paint does not like to stick to mill glaze. So It either needs to be aged or needs to be treated. Make your list of old wood. Take a good inventory of that wood. I mean, note cracks, deep cracks all the way through. Whether your deck's right on the ground, splitting wood, yep. And, all those add up to either a successful job or a big mess when the snow melts in the spring.
Well, you know, one of the things that I found, and I have to be honest with you folks, I mean, I wish I could say I have the perfect home, Ralph, but I don't. I found some dry rot.
Okay.
Because what happened is that some of the soils have settled in this and that, and it's moved up on the wood.
Yep.
And that, all at once, I have dry rot. There's nothing else you can do with it but replace it, am I right? I mean, you can't stop it, can you?
There are certain things out there. There's products called from Enrot, just to throw a brand name out there.
Okay.
I mean, there is structural wood out there that does rot that you just can't take a beam out of your house.
Right.
So there is products that contain rods that you can actually put in there that stop the bug infestations, and
really
there's sculpting putties, and there are products, but you got to, that's part of that inventory. I mean, let's take them to a paint store and really ask them some pointed questions.
And as you're aware of it, we had another guest on before, and it was Great American Contracting, and we were talking about some of those things with dry rot. You need to make your list and do evaluation and ask an expert.
Right.
And again, at Rodda Paint, if I take a picture of something that I think is dry rot, or even bring a sample in and say, Ralph, what do we have here?
Right.
You're going to help us out, right?
Oh, correct. Yeah.
And you're going to lead us towards the right direction of an answer. Folks, just don't go out and buy something.
Yeah,
that's what
always
I'm trying to
get a second opinion on it. You wouldn't do a lot of things without a second opinion. Let's go ahead and get a second opinion about your house while you're at it.
Now, let's ask another question. Some of the decks, do they still use stain?
They do, actually. That's the
or is
number
it paint?
one.
I mean, let's just talk about it.
So my number one, and I've been in the paint business for a long time, semi-transparent stain on a deck. That's my number one because it doesn't peel.
Yep.
It is got a lifespan, and it does not last as long as paint, but that's on the other side of the coin, the paint likes to peel off.
Well, and it wears out or wears down, am I right?
Yeah.
Stain actually goes into the wood?
Yes, it's a successful stain application goes into the wood without puddling on the surface and creating a film on there. And then you have to power wash it. Yeah, you have to reapply it in a couple of years. But the prep, you won't be dealing with the peeling.
Okay, cleaning. It used to be, I guess what got me into painting, Dad would say, well, get the sandpaper out and get the scraper and scrape down the house. And I thought, wow, that's been years ago. And does it still have to happen in some areas?
Yes, it still has to happen. Face it, I have a barbecue on my deck. I like cooking hamburgers and stuff, a few shish kebabs. You get the oils on that deck.
Right.
Those need to be cleaned off.
So you need to actually physically, in areas that look like they need to be cleaned.
They have to be cleaned.
They have to be cleaned.
Yeah.
And again, before you and you said the word power wash. And again, there's more miracles that don't happen with power washing as a good scrubbing in some cases.
Yeah, you have to be careful when you power wash.
That was my point.
A lot of people get a little overzealous with the power washer because it starts looking really good really fast. But you could chew that wood up to the point of sanding or replacing it really quickly on old wood where the cellulose is compromised. You could dig grooves into those really fast.
So you've got to be aware of what you're doing. And I guess I'm trying to say is that if you're going to hire it done, make sure that your contractor or the kids down the road know how to use a power washer and what to look for.
Oh, yes,
again,
definitely.
Don't just assume that everybody knows what we're talking about. So that's why we have to ask questions in Rodda Paints. Let me ask the next question. Let's talk about some fencing.
Okay.
And after all the windstorms we've seen, all the heavy snows and so forth, I've seen more fences in needs than I have seen good fences left anymore. Yeah. What are some of the recommendations that you're saying how to preserve the good fence?
Well, again, a lot of people put up a brand new fence and they want it to look good really fast. We got to be conscious of moisture in that new wood. You can go pick up a brand new piece of cedar and it weighs about twice what it should because of the moisture content. So if you put up a brand new fence, make sure that you are conscious of the moisture. And this time of year, it's not too bad. A week or two isn't bad for letting it dry out. It's going to bake it out. It'll bake it out in these temperatures.
Yeah. But you got to be aware of what the wood is actually alive.
Yes.
I say that and openly. The wood can move on you.
Yeah, and really what you're trying to get at the end of the day for a finished product. Painting a fence with a solid color stain, being it's vertical, snow's not going to sit on it. As long as you're conscious of your sprinklers, because sprinklers, even though they're great for landscapers,
I know
we
love them.
They're really bad for the longevity of coatings on decks, on fences, on houses. So make sure, maybe call your landscaper and say, "Hey, I'm just put in a brand new fence. Can you come and adjust my sprinklers away from the fence?"
Well, folks, and I've driven down the road and I've seen white arcs on the fences or on the house.
Yep, that's the number one thing.
That's a dead giveaway that the sprinkler system is overwatering. I think that's just sloppiness and tuning it myself. But the issue being we should not have that, and especially on the fence because it's causing problems.
Well, and it'll wash the stain out. It'll make the paint peel off. And on your deck, too. You don't want those sprinklers hitting anything. So if you see... even on the side of your house, if you see that telltale line of your sprinkler, get your landscaper out. I don't know what they would charge, maybe a nominal fee, but have them adjust your sprinklers.
Long term, it's going to save you a lot.
It will save your paint job.
Yeah.
It will save you the stress of having to repaint it more often.
Well, and I'm into the mode of not repainting things all the time, and that brings me to another point. That's why I have my list. I've got it all in front of me here, folks, right in front of me. My yellow pad, and my pad says, I have a southeast door leaning out of our bedroom. It's a metal door with a wood frame.
Uh-huh.
and I got a eave that comes over the edge of it, a long ways out. But that sucker, and it's got decking out there, and it doesn't get watered from the sprinkler. But I guess I just have never prepared it correctly because the paint never steps on, never sets to it. Can you give me the answer in 2 minutes?
No.
No.
I see a lot of those, and it's a lot of wicking moisture.
Yep.
And on a wood frame with a deck, they like to wick water, and they absolutely, it's their favorite thing is to peel about 8 inches up from your deck.
He's never been to my home, but he's describing something that is in my home.
Because I described my house.
Okay, you have less than a minute. Tell us what wicking is.
It's when you get the rainwater. You could have the best soffit. You could have a nice painted deck, and that moisture will use the capillaries of the wood, and it will actually go up about 8 inches into the frame of that door casing, and it will. When it vaporizes, because the water goes in, it has to come out, and it will take the paint off with it.
Okay, Ralph, we're going to come back. We're going to take a quick break, Ralph, and then we're going to come back and talk about wicking and how do we not have it, because I've painted that thing 3 or 4 times, and I'm done.
I've painted mine 3 or 4 times, too.
Okay, we're going to come back and talk about wicking. Thank you, Ralph. Rodda Paint.
Last year alone, Avista customers saved over 53 million kilowatt hours of energy by taking advantage of rebates from Avista. Like 15 cents a square foot for new attic insulation, $35 for installing a smart thermostat, or $2,300 for switching from electric to natural gas heat. And all that savings reduced carbon emissions by more than 18,000 tons. Way to save, everyone. Way to save. Find your way to save at avistautilities.com.
To help you be safe, Washington state law requires you to call 811 2 full business days before you plan, for example, to dig, drill, plow, pull from, or pound anything into the ground. Be prepared to provide the operator with the correct address, cross street, and a description of your work. You must mark the dig area with white paint. The operator will inform you of the utilities notified of your impending excavation. Wait for all their marks. Be safe and dig with care.
When it comes to adding long-lasting color to your world, let Rodda Paint give you a hand. It'll be a snap with Rodda Paint's quality coatings, vast color choices, and plenty of painting supplies. Visit your local Spokane Rodda Paint stores today, or go online to roddapaint.com. That's roddapaint.com.
Rodda Paint. Finish right.
A special thank you to our friends at Tom Sawyer Country Coffee, the official coffee supplier here at Spokane Talks Online.
Okay. We had ended the program with Ralph here, and I asked the question about wicking, and he told me that, guess what, we can't do anything about it. So again, have you come up with a solution how to cut wicking out in your doors?
Well, other than standing there with a towel and drying the water every time it rains, it's going to be a maintenance issue.
The water rises up because
through
of the
the
deck,
wood.
through the wood, and you got a metal threshold so that you can't get to the bottom of it, and the bottom is where it happens from, right?
It comes from the bottom. It's a maintenance issue, so you just got to stay on it and touch it up.
Scrape it down, prime it,
paint it, and do it again. Rinse and repeat.
And I guess that's why you've got a continuous repeat business like at the grocery store, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Now, let me ask the other question. I have a vinyl garage door.
Okay.
It's a white one, and it's ugly. Can we be creative and change the color a little bit?
Well, it's probably not vinyl. It's probably a metal, aluminum. Well, let me tell you, there is a primer for everything. So if you have a substrate aluminum vinyl, find the right primer, and then, yes, get creative.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can actually, again, go into the stores, take a picture with you, and go in and say, hey, you know what? We have this door, and we'd like to change the color, and let's pick a color, and let's say, how do we do it correctly?
Yeah, make sure you know your substrate. The keys to the paint industry are clean, dull, and dry. So if you got a clean surface, a dull surface, and a dry surface, your painting project will exponentially increase in the satisfaction rating. So
better results at the end.
yes, so clean, dull, and dry, that's our mantra. And get the right primer, and then have fun picking a color.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask the next question. We talked about the garage door. I want to talk about the front door.
Okay.
Now, the majority of them are all metal, right?
The majority are, yes.
So let's talk about the metal ones. Can we work with those, and how do we change the colors? Or
Metal doors actually paint very well.
You're getting all excited about metal doors, aren't
yeah, they actually hold paint so much better than wood. Maybe that's why I get so excited.
There you go.
Yeah, again, it's do a quick sand on it and pick a color and paint it, because most of those are pre-finished, pre-primed from the factory. So there shouldn't be any rust on it. It should be, and it could have been painted when you bought your home. Mm-hmm. And nowadays, most people use acrylic latex anyway. And so more than likely, if your house was built in the last 10 to 12 years, it's very easily recoated.
Okay.
Because it's probably a latex. Not saying it is, but it's probably a latex. And clean it and recoat it.
Okay. Now let's ask the next question in regards to a wood door, a nice fancy one that has a glass in it and so forth. Again, how much maintenance is this going to require of us?
Have you ever owned a wooden boat?
My wife's father did.
Do you still have it?
No.
But you still have your wooden door.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Wooden front doors are they're lovely. They're nice. They feel really good, but they are a maintenance item.
They're a nightmare is what you're trying to say.
I did not say nightmare. They are a maintenance item. They're just like a wooden boat. Imagine having a wooden boat sitting on attached to the front of your house.
That's a very good answer on that one.
And the wood expands and contracts with the seasons, and a good varnish, like a spar varnish, that will expand and contract with that. There are other products. There's urethanes. I've always had the best luck with the varnishes, spar varnish.
Sure. And they've been around for years, haven't they?
They've been around for decades.
Okay. Now, I've had one other question for you, and I led you into it, and you didn't give me any answer during the break. If I have vinyl windows and they're all white.
I hope you love your vinyl windows.
I don't know what he just said, but I think I did hear what he said.
So this does come up, and I'm glad you asked that question, because people come in and want to paint their vinyl windows and their vinyl siding. There is a issue with painting vinyl windows, and it is with the expansion of the vinyl when you put a dark color on it. So, and vinyl siding is the same way. So if you got a nice white vinyl home and you paint it black, all that heat is now going to be absorbed into that vinyl siding or vinyl windows. So we have a couple of certified applicators that before you buy your vinyl windows, they can paint them with a special paint that does not absorb that heat. So if you have white vinyl windows in your house now, you will have white vinyl windows at the end of this program.
He just said it to me, folks. What you got is what you got.
Well, I caution people about painting.
You're being honest with them.
Yeah, vinyl siding, you never want to paint it darker than what it is. Now, there are paints out there that can absorb the heat, but a lot of people don't realize, and they get the wrong paint, and then your siding buckles, and because you painted it darker. And it's a big caution for me, because I don't want to ruin somebody's home by having them painted a dark, tan, and now their house is buckling. So,
well, and what you're saying is make the right choices when you're choosing the paint, irregardless of what kind of siding you have, because each one will offer you different options. Is that right?
That is correct. Make sure that you ask a pointed question when you go down to the paint store. Don't just come in and say, hey, I need this nice sand tone color, and not, let us know the substrate. Let us know that it's vinyl, because we'll give you a recommendation, how far you can actually go. And that's, again, just like where we started, take an inventory of what you got before you leave your house.
Now, when it comes to soffits, again, care has to be given. I mean, they're underneath, and
they don't get the direct sun, so they're not a big issue.
Okay.
So,
But you've got to go in and take care of those always. I mean,
Yeah.
you clean them up and
get all the bees' nests and the
this time of the
cobwebs out
year.
them.
Oh, it's terrible. Okay. With that being said, and I apologize, but the issue is that we've talked about a lot of the exterior, and we're going to be working in. We got a few minutes here, starting prepare for the fall and getting into the holidays. And I'm sorry to say, but folks, we're getting onto the latter part of the year that we need to be preparing ourselves. The bathroom gets the most activity. The kitchen gets a lot of the activity, and we've been looking at those ceilings, and I've been saying, gosh, they really get abused in those areas, right?
That is correct.
And
yeah.
the moisture is what I'm trying to point out.
Yeah.
And when you're making choices of colors and the types of paints, that's very important. Just don't pick it because of the color, right?
Yeah, you got to pick a product and a color. Have a good idea of what you're looking for before you start the project, because let us know that it's a bathroom, because we won't want
Right.
to sell you flat paint and then go paint your bathroom, because you will be back in about a month asking for a higher quality, higher sheen.
It just disappears, or what happens to it?
No, they don't have a lot of perm resistance, so you want to make sure that if it's a bathroom. Nowadays, a lot of houses have a lot of air movement, the correct fans to pull the moisture out, but it could be an older home.
Right.
And so the moisture is sitting on those walls, and so you need a good acrylic latex paint, and that's generalized,
Okay.
for this program. But there are certain paints I wouldn't put in a bathroom, and there's certain paints that I would put in a bathroom.
What he's saying, folks, with your particular case, and in our own particular case, we need to come in and see you and say, here's what we have, and here's what we're trying to accomplish.
And a good thing too is knowing the year your house was built.
Oh.
That is one thing that I know. My house was built in 2001. A lot of people have homes built in the 70s or the 60s. A good piece of information is knowing when your house was built.
Why is that?
Because a lot of older homes they use plaster.
Oh, okay.
So maybe you got some peeling problems in your bathroom. Well, if you come in, a lot of the new guys in the store will think that you're talking about drywall.
Yeah, right.
You actually may have plaster in your house. You may not have the ventilation that the new current homes have. The siding, it could be old siding from the late 70s.
Yeah, like Texture 111?
Yeah, T111.
Yeah.
And knowing that there was trends that you could follow through the decades on what siding was popular. So, knowing the year of your home is a good key piece of information to knowing what siding, what the wall finishes are.
Well, let me ask this next question. With the newer homes, and I hear the word all the time, concrete siding or hardy plank,
Yes.
good products
They are excellent products.
for paint?
Yes. I mean, that's what's out there right now. They hold paint. They hold paint really well. Not like old wood.
That was my
They
point.
hold but they do absorb a lot of heat too. And so, like old wood siding doesn't, there's no thermal
breathes.
mass there. Yeah.
It moves.
So,
But
again,
if you're changing the color of your hardy plank or your siding, understand the product and the options in front of you.
correct. And the prep. There's different prep for wood houses versus hardy board houses. We sell a lot of lifetime warranty paint on hardy board.
Really?
Yeah, that's we do that.
Well, let me ask this question, Ralph. I know our listeners are sitting out there saying, yeah, okay, he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. And I have to be honest with you, folks, he does. But the issue is that how do we get hold of you?
Well, our store, we have 3 stores around. And
In the Spokane area?
In the Spokane area. We have one on North Division, one in Sprague, and one in Coeur d'Alene. And we have a lot of trained people down there. We have a website, which is our general company website, which is roddapaint.com. And you could click on locations.
Yes.
And that's probably the best way to get a hold of one of our stores.
Okay. Or just come in and just talk to you, or if they need to. Are you able to go out and maybe help people along making some decisions?
Yeah, we have, I think, 5 salesmen around at the last count.
Okay.
And so no matter if you're in Coeur d'Alene or North Division, If you need a painter, if you need a recommendation, call our store and ask them. Maybe they have
good, reputable recommendations.
Have a salesman stop by.
Sure. Well, folks, I think that sometimes what we need to be saying is that it's just paint. We don't need anything done. Well, you know what? Anymore, it costs money and it takes time. And we evaluate our time on a very high level, as I do, and I know you do, Ralph.
Yeah.
And the issue is that you want to give out the right information. And I want to say to everybody here, don't be afraid to. There is no dumb questions, are there?
No.
No dumb questions. So
there's a lot of questions. None of them are dumb.
Yeah. Questions at a time. But anyway, I want to say, Ralph, at Rodda Paint, you have just done a fantastic job. And we've got a lot of questions here that we've been talking about and answers. And so I want to say thank you. Get with the program is what you're saying before winter comes, right?
I would say prepare for winter now.
Okay. Now is the time. No more putting off. And honey, yes, I'll get with the program. So with that all being said, again, thank you, Ralph. We appreciate Rodda Paint. We really appreciate being a real nice sponsor. Yeah. We want to say thank you and with all the good information. Folks, until next time, I'm Clyde Hossey, and we're looking forward to seeing you next time on House to Home.
House to Home with Clyde Hossey is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content. Ask Clyde a question, recommend a guest, and hear this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksOnline.com. House to Home is brought to you each week by Avista and Rodda Paint. You can turn your house into a home. We're here to help. Thanks for listening to Spokane Talks Online.
Alone, Avista customers saved over 53 million kilowatt hours of energy. How? By caulking their windows, programming their thermostats, replacing their incandescent light bulbs with LEDs. Simple things, really. But the energy they saved was enough to power more than 4,000 homes for an entire year. Way to save, everyone. Way to save. Find your way to save at avistautilities.com.